I'm Max.
Hi, and I'm Denise.
And welcome back to another edition of Urban Lifestyles. And you know, the summer's gotten away from us. We're into what, early fall?
Yes.
And the weather's still great.
But it feels like San Diego type weather to me. The mornings are cool and crisp, and the days warm up just to the 80s, and then the nights go down nice.
Right, because we've been getting out doing our morning walks and hitting the gym and just trying to take advantage of it.
Exactly.
We've got a great show today. One thing we're going to be talking about is a piece we did with AARP talking about age-friendly Louisville. And we also did a segment with LG&E, and you also have another segment.
Well, it was with Dr. Robert Douglas, artist. He's also has been a professor at U of L, and it's quite interesting.
So we'll take a quick break and back with more right after this.
0.5, your man Nick Cannon is in the building and we taking over. We gonna be wilding every morning. About to have some fun, y'all. Let's go up.
Press another move. Locking in to the Nick Cannon Morning Show, 6 to 10 on.
Well, this first segment we're going to be talking about is about age-friendly Louisville. Something should be near and dear to your heart.
Of course, mine. Yours too, it should be. He's not paying attention when he looks in the mirror.
You are correct. So take a look at this piece. Well, every month on Urban Lifestyles, we do a segment with AARP. And because AARP is one of our primary sponsors, and we like to bring to you things that are happening in the community that is definitely relevant to that community. So we've got some great guests with us today. We have, and I'm probably going to destroy her name, so I'm going to apologize up front. It is Pamela Yankelov, who is a PhD, and she's the Director of Research at U of L Traeger Institute. And we also have Holly Toronto Bagley, who is an MSW and a special coordinator for KIPTA. So both of you are welcome to the program, and I hope I didn't do too bad on your names.
You did good. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Great.
I think all of those years of training finally paid off.
That's great.
Well, nice for joining us today. And some of the things we're going to be talking to you about. But before we get into that, tell us about your backgrounds and how we got to this point.
Sure. Do you want to go first?
Sure. Hi. So Pam Yankelov, University of Louisville Traeger Institute, and I'm the Director of Research there. Our Traeger Institute is all about kind of innovating the aging experience, a lot of workforce development. We do a lot of clinical practice transformation and a ton of community work. And so that's how I got to Age Friendly Louisville. I'm also one of the leaders of Age Friendly Louisville, and I'm a co-facilitator on one of the domain subgroups called the Community Sports and Health Services. So.
Great.
And hey everyone, I'm Holly Toronto Bagley, originally from New York. So got to work on Age Friendly New York City, and I loved it, developed a pretty big passion from it. It was in the housing domain, and then moved here after a little bit of traveling, and moved over here and was super excited to find out that Louisville was working on having an age-friendly community. Kind of fell right in my lap, perfect timing. And so I'm blessed enough to be able to be the kind of the liaison for KIPTA, which is the Area Agency on Aging and Independent Living. I always have to dance when I say that word. I always stutter if I don't.
Yes, understood. So tell us, what is the AARP Age Friendly Network? What exactly does that mean?
Well, it's a network of individuals that are interested in becoming part of the age-friendly community family. So it's been around since I think 2015, somewhere around then. And I think there's somewhere close to 600 communities in age-friendly communities, the network. And we were the 120th city. Louisville was the 120th city. So it really picked up speed.
Okay.
Like we did in 2016. So they provide support. They help individuals who are interested in having an age-friendly community get on board. Lessons are learned. Some ideas about resources that you can gather to help you get started. Applications are shared. There's spaces on the website that tells you some profiles of individuals that are in the age-friendly network and some promising practices that the different communities are using. So it's a great resource.
And I think kind of, Max, when I look at and think about age-friendly communities is, we all have the right and the kind of the responsibility, if you will, to thrive within our communities. And I think age friendly, allows people to do that anywhere from from birth on. You know, I don't think it's going to hurt anybody if a grandchild and a grandparent have a longer crosswalk or a wider sidewalk. And I think that's what Age Friendly Louisville is working to do within our communities.
So, you know, we're always talking about a society that is continually aging and just becoming an age-friendly community. How has Louisville as a whole adopted to what AARP is trying to?
Oh, well, we're doing great. I mean, we're 5 years in. I was looking at some of the stats, and I was looking at, you know, what we've been trying to achieve over the last 5 years. And we've had something like close to 1,200 individuals that are unique individuals that have participated in Age Friendly Louisville. I mean, it was a process of doing, you know, a needs assessment for a couple of years after we got our designation of becoming, you know, Age Friendly Louisville. And we did a pretty comprehensive needs assessment and tried to get the community involved, and really worked with every zip code except 2, trying to, you know, get them their ideas about what they would like in their city to become an age-friendly city. And then we worked together to create this strategic plan. In the last 3 years, we've been really working through that strategic plan and having some great milestones there.
Yeah, I think so. And I think one part that really stuck out for me in our 5-year report was listing all of our partners that we had come to our meetings. I mean, you kind of know, you're like, okay, we've got Traeger, we've got AARP up there, wonderful people sprinkled in between. But seeing that on paper, I just was like, wow, you know, especially during some times like COVID-19 where our communities are struggling a little bit. And it's wonderful to see the amount of people and the motivation that our community has to support each other.
Holly's right, we have 67 communies, 67 organizations. To be a part of Age Friendly Louisville.
Yeah.
So Holly's right.
Well, you know, you kind of spoken to, which was my next question, you know, some of the community partners. But when you look at volunteers, is it something where me as an individual, I can get engaged, or can you tell me a little bit more about that structure?
Yeah, so Age Friendly Louisville is there for everyone. So community residents are part of it. We also have folks from a variety of different organizations, like faith-based organizations and government organizations, and organizations that, you know, provide services to older adults. We've got payers on there. We've got managed care folks. We've got, I mean, it's just all these different types. We've got transportation. It's really quite a diverse group of organizations that work with Age Friendly Louisville. And yes, community members definitely serve on our different subgroups.
Well, as you can see, Age Friendly Louisville is an opportunity to really get the whole community engaged. And, you know, it's something that's happening all across the country, and just showing you where there's opportunities for you to buy in, give your support, whether you're an individual or an organization. But it's the direction that all major cities are going in.
Yeah. The thing about it, if you think back about 40 years ago, it just seemed as if when you hit 50, they were trying to put you out to pasture, and that's all different now.
Right. And I know you passed 50 a long time ago.
Following you.
So it was not an issue.
Yeah, the pot calling this kettle black.
So we'll take a quick break and back with more right after this.
At LG&E and KU, we're always working hard to make your life a little easier, because we know you've got your hands full. Our new mobile app gives you the power to check your account balance, review your payment history, and effortlessly pay your bill from anywhere, while making it easier than ever to report and track power outages. Download the app today to get the convenience of LG&E and KU at your fingertips.
COVID-19 is responsible for over 700,000 deaths in the U.S., and that number continues to rise.
9,000 of those deaths were in Kentucky, but we can make a difference by taking the shot.
If you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for someone you love.
We will never be able to get back to normal until we all do our part, so let's all get vaccinated.
So wear your mask, wash your hands, roll up your sleeves, and take the shot.
And the holidays are the times for families to get together. So please, take the shot.
So Denise, you had an opportunity to catch up with one of our major sponsors, which is LG&E. So what's going on with them?
Basically, good information, energy matters, and when we hear the tips where you can save money, you'll definitely see why it matters. So let's just take a look. It's that time of month We're here at LG&E, and we're going to be talking about energy matters. I'm having, let's say, Natasha Collins to be my guest, but really I'm your guest here at LG&E. But we're going to be talking about a lot of ways you can cut costs and save energy. So I'm going to take it away and let you have your say.
Yeah, sure. So glad to be here with you. And, we're in those mild days of fall, right? So this is a wonderful time when everybody's trying to enjoy those days, but we want to encourage people while we're in the mild days of fall to start thinking about the cooler days of fall and the winter, because the cold will come. So this is a great time to start thinking about what energy, small energy changes you can make in your home so that you're prepared to better manage your energy bills and your energy use come the cooler season. So that's what we're going to talk about. We got 5 tips and we can work through them right now.
And these tips, I have to say, we want to do it sooner rather than later, right?
That's exactly it. When it gets cold, what do we want to do? Like, be inside, be comfortable in our homes, be warm and cozy. So if we do it now, then we've already got it done. We can check that box. Yeah. So the first tip is to tune it up. And when we talk about that, we're talking about your furnace. So part of that is changing your filter. So we know that if you replace your furnace filter either every month or according to your manufacturer's instructions, that helps your system to operate in its optimal condition. So make sure that you are changing your filter. A little tip is to make sure you put the date on it. That way, time passes, you forget when you put a new one in. So that way you can always keep track of whether you need a new one or not.
I have a quick question then.
Sure.
Because we need to change the filters, and we're talking about change of seasons. How often do you recommend changing the filters? Because maybe some people think, winter, spring, summer, fall. But should it be more frequent than that?
I would say monthly or according to the manufacturer's instructions, because some systems may differ, but it's not going to hurt to change it monthly. You just always want to make sure that you've got a clean filter that's not covered in your system. So the other part of tune it up is make sure that you have a certified professional tune up your system. That also keeps it in optimal condition, and just having that tune up and replacing the filters goes a long way toward maintaining your system. Good. Yeah. So the second tip is to set a program. So with your thermostat, if you have a programmable thermostat, think about the schedules of everybody in your home. We know we've all been working a lot differently, so it may have changed over the last couple of years, but set your thermostat, the program on your thermostat, so that, for instance, if there's nobody home in the morning, you don't need to be heating an empty house. So it can be set a little bit lower, and then when people get home and you want to be kind of warm and cozy, then the thermostat can go up a few degrees. So just think about that, because even 1 degree would make a difference.
Good deal.
Yeah, so our third tip, seal it up. So we're talking about the envelope of your home. So that's the doors, the windows, the places where you want to keep the cold air out and the warm air in. So if you have any leaks or gaps in those areas, then you want to use some simple plastic, some tape, and some scissors to cut the plastic, and all you have to do is apply it to some of those leaks or gaps. There are other things that you can use, such as some foam rope or other types of tools, but ultimately making sure that you keep the cold air out, keep the warm air in by sealing up those leaks. And while you're taking a look at those, you can take a look at your ductwork as well, because that's another area where a leak or a gap would be contributing to an inefficient heating system.
Okay, so I've been in conversations with it's either or. Are we sealing from the inside, or do you seal from the outside, or do you do both?
Right. You can seal from the inside. We partner with Project Warm quite a bit and do weatherization. And in those instances, we take the plastic, we measure it out according to the size of the window, we cut it, and then we make sure that it's secured on the inside, taping it and firmly pressing it against the window and making sure it's sealed up that way. So yeah, seal it up from the inside. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and so another one of the tips that we have is to make sure that you uncover it. So that just means a couple of things. It can be your vents. So in your home where these changes, if the air, the warm air needs to circulate throughout your home to make sure that you're keeping your home warm. A lot of people, I know in my office at home, my home office, my desk kind of comes across one of the vents. So that's kind of blocking it. So in instances where you have furniture or something like that, make sure that you uncover the vent so it has an opportunity to help heat the home and thoroughly circulate throughout the home. And then I think that tip also applies to our windows, because in the summer we're always trying to keep the sunlight out, but in the wintertime the sun helps to naturally heat your home. So that's free heat. It's helping to drive up the temperature in your home if you keep the blinds and drapes open. So make sure you uncover the vents, uncover the windows. Mm-hmm.
I have some areas I just thought about I need to uncover.
Yeah. And then the last tip that we have is just to layer up. So, I mean, what always helps is, how we said you can spare a few degrees and that makes a difference on your thermostat. So if you're sparing a few degrees, as long as you're comfortable, sometimes I have my lounge clothes at my home or a little blanket if I'm going to sit and watch a program. So layering up, whether it's putting on socks or putting on a sweatshirt or whatever you do to keep comfortable at home, layering up always helps you to stay more comfortable without having to hit that thermostat and drive up the energy that you're using in the home.
Well, as always, great information how you got to catch up with Natasha. And, again, just the way that LG&E is engaged in the community, it makes a difference.
Oh, they always do. And the thing about it is, I haven't been as, let's say, compliant on changing the filters out because he doesn't do it anyway, so it's left to me. But I should be changing the filters out sooner than I do because it would make a big difference. And I was in a conversation about weatherizing. Do you put the plastic on the outside of a window or do you put it on the inside? So that was good to get net clarity.
Yeah, right. And I like the way you put me on blast, implying that I don't do filters, but you...
No, you don't. He doesn't.
But you do such a great job.
Thank you.
And I'm all for women empowerment.
That's right.
We'll take another break and back with more.
Fort. I'm a legal administrative assistant here at the water company, and I've been here for 5 years. Well, I chose a career here by chance. I actually started as a temporary worker, but the reason that I stayed became pretty clear quickly. I was offered a lot of opportunities for advancement, and that really made a big impact on me, and I decided to stay and really take advantage of the things that were offered to me. It feels really good to be a part of the makeup of part of the city of Louisville in response, of course, to the pandemic, being able to help customers, being a part of a program called Drops of Kindness where we were able to help customers with their water bills during this pandemic. You really get to see how water is an essential thing and it touches everyone's lives. And you walk away feeling really good that you were able to help someone. I am excited about the possibility of getting back to the office. I believe everyone is. It's been over a year and a half being away from the office, and I know the executive leadership team here is really working to make sure that everyone has a great time when they come back into the office and really get that camaraderie back. Something I do outside of Louisville Water to relax, I love to work out, I love to exercise, so I'm part of a CrossFit gym, and that's something that I like to do. I love to strength train and weight lift. If someone wanted to work at Louisville Water Company, I would definitely tell them to take advantage of the opportunity. They offer great benefits, competitive pay, and many opportunities for advancement.
COVID-19 is responsible for over 700,000 deaths in the U.S., and that number continues to rise.
9,000 of those deaths were in Kentucky, but we can make a difference by taking the shot.
If you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for someone you love.
We will never be able to get back to normal until we all do our part, so let's all get vaccinated.
So wear your mask, wash your hands, roll up your sleeves, and take the shot.
And the holidays are the times for families to get together. So please, take the shot.
So Denise, you had an opportunity to catch up with the local artists, so tell us about that.
Yeah, this is an exhibition that's about 50 years old, and by Dr. Robert Douglas, we call him Bob. He put it on display, great art exhibit, and I like it because it's called The Different Shades of Melanin in Women, and it's a lot about women and why he chose the women in their purest form, so let's just take a look.
I am here and delighted because I'm attending a fabulous art exhibit, and the works are done by Dr. Robert Douglas. And I know him as Bob. Welcome to Urban Lifestyle.
Thank you very much for having me and showcasing this 50-year endeavor.
Yeah, I was looking at the beauty. It's called, and I make sure, Shades of Earth Mother. You came up with the title for this exhibition. How did that come to mind for you?
My mother and my older sister, my sisters in my family. My mother was what they would call today a biracial. She was half white.
Okay.
And my father was a little short, dark brown skin. I think of him now as an Igbo since I know so much about Africa. And so my sisters, the shades was the complexions that my sisters, the family would blame on mother. And I coined that because of what Franklin Hughes poetically stated once a poem or essay. He said an African American ranges in color complexion from milk white to blueberry black. And the reason I'm here is because of what my mother and my sisters gave me. And when I became an artist and began to go to museums, they were not represented. And I thought, my sisters are beautiful, why are they not there? And I looked around the community and these wide ranges of complexion. And so I decided 50 years ago that as an artist, I was going to pay tribute to the beauty of African American women. And I began to think of why I thought that. I said, wait a minute, I began to ask, has anyone ever saw an ugly flower?
Right.
And yet there are hundreds of species of flowers, different colors, different sizes, different shapes, different compositions.
So right there, that thought, has anyone ever seen an ugly flower? I like in the information that I call it like a thesis that you had pointed out how somewhere along the line with the disrespect of the name calling, like let's say with coloration, I like where you came up with your studies about how did the mentality of thinking blackness and let's say black women was ugly due to the different variations of melanin in our skin and how the mentality has been formed in us.
And of course, racism began with our enslavement. And the slave-owning class had to justify why they had these human beings. So they had to come up with a negative attitudes. I think W.B. Du Bois or someone else said that racism began for most whites in a very solid form around the 1550s when the English got into the slave trade.
Okay.
Yes.
So with that in mind, and I look at this vivid explosion of color, the way you have expressed and represented all the different hues and melanin of tones. It also brought to mind that you had made mention about, so when we as a society are exposed to what we think is what's beauty, and like you said, the blondes have more fun, but what's represented in magazines or in museums of fine art, I grew up not seeing these images. What do you think it's going to take to now have it this day and time in museums to have this celebration?
I don't know. We're still going through another period. But still, the most celebrated images of black people, the one today that is being most sought after by the art buying public is the works of Carol Walker and the works of Robert Colescott. And the both of them show us in a very negative, derogatory compositions, attitudes, postures, and somehow they think, she's thinking like Robert Colescott, that if we make the images derogatory and ugly enough, that soon whites will get tired of seeing that and won't give us a problem anymore. But that's a you're talking about overstuffing somebody who's overeating anyway, and they just get bigger and bigger, and it's worse. So I'm hoping that these nude women will at least allow black women to celebrate themselves. There's still places in this country where women can be fined for breastfeeding in the public, and that's absurd. The other idea is that the milk industry, there's probably not a woman on the board of the milk industry. Most people in the world are buying artificial milk, and we wouldn't have survived up until the last 100 years if it wasn't for the natural breastfeeding. And there are lots of reasons why people have negative feelings about seeing people nude. I think it first came about, as I said, because the slave woman had to do whatever she could not to appear attractive in any way, so that she would not be misused or exploited sexually.
Well, I have to say, first of all, I want to say I didn't introduce you, Dr. Robert Douglas. Your profession at U of L, will you share your capacity there, I think before you retired?
Oh yes, my students have invited to come to see the show, but I'm still a professor of art history and Pan-African studies, and I'm teaching this semester a course on African art. And of course, African art forms is in many postures, and also oftentimes the figures are nude. That's one of the reasons why all of these paintings have a nude figurine with them, because I wanted to remind the African American woman that she was African first, then American.
Thank you so much for watching the show and supporting the show and saying hi. And if you see me and you know us through television, don't be shy, say hi, because I want to know who you are.
Right. We really appreciate it. We've been on, 13 years because of you. And you know what? I think that's our show.
And that's our time.
And we'll see you back here next time on Urban Lifestyles.
Bye.
Take the shot.
Stay safe.